Okay, it is 9:09 a.m. the first day of January officially for trading. A little bit of a different morning because I am looking at NTRB for some kind of a short setup, and it's been a nice downtrending stock. I like how, if you look back here, we had a big pop off day with a lot of volume and then just sold off, so that could be a sign that this one is also going to do the same thing. I like how this was a resistance level, right, and it held it here. It went just slightly above it after it trying to break it, but it still choked under this $10 resistance level, and then it came back here. So maybe it might consolidate and then it might uptrend, or it might just actually continue to break under. I don't necessarily want to be short at the very bottom of this, and maybe it'll start to turn around. So I'll have a wide risk level if I do consider shorting. I might just short just two tiny shares and stick with a $5 risk level, and in theory get out if it breaks this 12 level right here. I do have an interest in that, and of course as we get towards 9:30 I'll be interested in any potential morning panic bounce play setups. I think I'll scale up and just go to a $20 risk level for those type of setups, and then anything else maybe I'll stick with $10 and size down accordingly depending on the pattern, or if there's something like AXXA that trades with a wide spread. That's what I have for right now. I might consider shorting this, but I am afraid that I'll just be shorting it right before it starts to turn around, but I do like the way it's downtrending. It is 9:40 a.m. There have not been any morning panic bounce plays, which is fine. And I've been looking at NTRB. This one just keeps downtrending. The last time I recorded was here. It never really offered a point where it's tried to uptrend and maybe try to hit a previously strong support level and fail, and then that could have been a short idea. It just keeps gradually downtrending, as you can see, and it did kind of start to consolidate here right before the market opened at this 880-ish level, and we broke under it, and now I feel like maybe there are just too many shorts who are trying to chase this on the way down because of the way it keeps downtrending, and maybe if it just keeps downtrending the way it is, I'll just let it be, and I was on the right track, I guess. Again, it's not something I'm as good at shorting listed stocks compared to OTC's dip buying, so that's a pretty impressive one here. It's just gonna be a wash. Ideally I'd like to see it uptrend and try a support level, maybe like 940-ish or this $10 level, and if reject that, then that would be a nice short. But I don't know, I mean, it could end up at $6 or something crazy like that, or maybe even lower, right? And it just keeps fading today. After all, I did have this sell-off day right here. It's just gonna be a watch, but yeah, it's just something to just watch, I think, and learn from, definitely. Okay, it's 9:46. I like this move with HMBL. I was pretty close to buying it, but I wasn't able to. It just made a nice move, something that has a spike in the morning, something that could do a reversal on a daily chart, and then has a little dip right here, a little bit of a consolidation. This looks like a bull flag. Now looking at it even more, and then you can get an entry and then risk VWAP breaking. This is a setup that could have been pretty nice. I was kind of close to buying it, but I was also looking at NTRB at the same time, and I did try shorting on Interactive Brokers. There's just a message that pops up and says that we're not able to short this, so I'm not able to be a part of this stock, on the downside. But in theory, it kind of did that thing where maybe it kind of uptrends right towards a resistance level that was previously support, the 880s, and now it's failing that. But it can also just do a nice squeeze too, and maybe I'll consider it for a buy if it does a squeeze. But that would have been the idea. And then my risk level probably would have been $10 if it were to have broken $10, because that was also the previous close, and it would go green on the day at that point. And I would have been short maybe just one or two shares. I believe just two shares, just something extremely small, sticking with the $5 risk level. Is this finally the short squeeze? I'm glad I didn't get my short in if that's the case, but we'll take a look at it. I might even consider longing this. Okay, it is 9:58. I had one trade with NTRB, but I might update that one a bit later. But I'm looking at OWUV, a bit of a morning panic, not necessarily clean because it's not like nice big red candles, but just a gradual mess towards the bottom here. But I do like how this was a little wick right here, and then it tried, but I was watching it right here. There was a lot of people at the ask. There still is, and it broke this level right here. So ideally this thing breaks this level like it is here. It makes a panic. All these people who are sitting at the ask, just not letting it uptrend, panic sell into the bid. It causes a nice, just a nice move towards the downside, and then that could be a potential dip buy. So I'll be looking at OWUV for that reason. I'll make an update later with NTRB. I just don't want to miss anything. I want to just watch it in case there's a setup. It is 10:04 a.m. I'm still watching this downtrend. There are just too many people still at the ask with a lot of size. I'd really like this thing to continue to downtrend, and all those people who are trying to be greedy, selling their shares at the ask, maybe they're short sellers, I doubt it, but really want them to panic sell and get all of the all of the people here on the ask just wiped out, thrown on the bid, and just market sell the crap this thing all the way to the bottom, and then try to go for a dip buy from there to see it bounce ideally. Alright, it is 10:21. I think to summarize this trade here with OWUV is that there are too many sellers on the ask, too many people who are long this stock, and they're not very happy with what it's doing today, and they're all busy trying to sell, but they're not greedy, selling at the bid and getting out, way earlier on, but they're just chasing it all the way down at the ask. This one has just broken the day low of this move right here, at least the recent low. Now, is it gonna break it and then it's gonna make a whole nother leg down, or is it gonna try to reverse? That's gonna be something to watch. Right now it looks like it's trying to hold 35 after, again, we just briefly broke this level here, but here come the panic selling. Now we're at 34. Yeah, all of the people who were too greedy at the ask, maybe they're short sellers, but I'm gonna guess it's probably people long this stock. All the people who were there being greedy with their size at the ask, not letting it breathe, they're gonna have to sell at a lower price and start crying because they were too greedy. And that's what happens when you're too greedy. You end up actually losing money. It's kind of backwards, but that's how it happens pretty much every single time. I might still consider this for a reversal, maybe like something around 11 a.m. But maybe I'll try to reverse. Maybe this will be the ultimate bottom and everything. We finally wipe out all the people who are trying to sell their shares at the ask, because this thing keeps going down. But at least as of right now, it's just going to be a watch. And I guess I can draw at this point a trend line to see maybe if I can base my next strategy off of this, maybe potentially right here, give or take, right? That might be actually something that could go into consideration, but I want to go over NTRB first. Wow, it's at 975. I was on the right track with NTRB, but I ended up losing like $1.25, and I was in at 948 right here. This is now, and I thought this could have happened, but what happened was that I was too busy watching OWUV. This is an inverse head and shoulder, shoulder, head, and then the shoulder. Hindsight 2020, I wouldn't have been in OWUV because there were too many people selling their shares at the ask, and I've considered buying this shoulder right here. This is kind of cool, but there we go. That's the short squeeze. And in theory, I was trading in this range. I was in at 948. The problem was I had a crappy entry. I was just a little too excited to get in this trade, and I was in 10 shares at 948 again, which was this wick right here at 902. So I had a horrible entry, right? And that didn't help me hold on to the position. And had I have maybe just waited a minute, I would have been in the 880s, and then I would have been able to have been, profitable or break even, or just not as much of a loss. But just a tiny, I lost $1.60. Actually, looking at this, and my percent loss is maybe like 1.5, which is fine. I just had a horrible entry right here at 902, and that was my fault. And I was in at 948, 949. I immediately sold 10 shares, no, not 10 shares, 5 shares, half of my position at 869, which was right here, because it immediately wasn't working like how I wanted to. So I decided I decided to cut my position in half, lower my risk in case I have to do the worst, which is cutting losses. If it breaks my risk level, which was a day low at the time, then I wouldn't be out completely $5, but a little less because I lowered my risk since it's not immediately working. And then I just sell 5 shares at 953, which was right here. This candle 953 at 905, so right about here 905 was my sell. So I had one sell here, one sell around here, and then my bad entry at 902. Again, if I had a better entry at the 880s, maybe I would have held on to this better and I would have sold profitably. That's totally my fault. And then again, I ignored this shoulder part because that again was when I was looking at OWUV. That's unfortunate, but that's totally fine. And as for OWUV, let's see if it's going to actually try to turn around. It's actually breaking a trend line, which might be something to look at. But I was in at 1011, right here 1011, and that was at 36 flats. I was in it right here thinking it was going to do some kind of turnaround, right? It didn't work out. This one did not work out, which is fine. I sold 500 shares at 1012, which was this candle right here at 361. This is the only thing I sold for a profit. And then I sold at 1014, right here 1014, break even at 36. And then this really sucked because it took a while to get executed, this one. I don't know why. It seems like market sell orders just take longer on Fidelity than an actual limit sell. But at 1016 I was in right here, out. In theory, when I saw this thing get to the risk level, which is at the time right here it was like 35.21. When I saw this at the bid, I thought, alright, it's time to get out. This thing might crack the bid, and in my downtrend, thankfully I was able to get out eventually the last 500 shares, which is why this ended up being a tiny, I think, $2 loss at 353. And mind you, my dollar risk level in this trade was $15, so to lose only $2 and worst case scenario 15, that was pretty good. I was able to get those last 500 shares at, in theory, 1016, but I think it took a while for my order to get executed. But I got out at 353, and there is still a lot of people selling at the ask. That is so sad. This thing is full of freaking bag holders. That's pretty sad. So yeah, 2 trades. NTRB didn't work out, but I was on the right track. I totally could have been in this inverse head and shoulders, and this isn't like a hindsight 2020 thing. I had this in mind before it did something like this, and that's nice to see. And then OWUV, morning panic bounce play, a bit of a later one. It didn't work. I will be watching this for that 11 a.m. reversal. Maybe something like that can happen, but if this thing also broke the trend line, maybe it'll actually consolidate an uptrend. But again, there's still a lot of people at the ask, but it can try to do something. I'll make an update later. I don't mind if I don't trade it again and it makes a nice move towards the upside. It's a lot of learning, if anything, and just trying to be the best that I can in trading. I think that's really all I should do. Just keep trying to be my best and keep going to the right path. Alright, it is 10:40. There's a chance I'm gonna miss this because of the price action. I'd want to get in at a better price because I like how it had this consolidation here after it broke this level, broke the trend line, and then it has a big spike right here, and then it comes back. But I wanted it to come back a little more, and maybe that's just me being greedy, so then I'm gonna miss out on profits. But in theory, I would have liked to have been in maybe at the 35.5 level, the 35.5 level, but I wanted it to be closer to 35 and less shares because even though in theory 1,500 shares, right, $15 risk level, I'm still trading a $15 risk level. But the issue is that the way I do my dollar risk level position sizing, because the risk level to me would be still the day low at 34. For me to be in at 36 and get out at 34, that would still go accordingly to my $15 risk level. It's not that I'm lowering size because I want to put less money into it. It's just that it's further from my risk level than you know, when I was first in the setup at 10-11, and I was very close to the day low, so I was at a larger size for that reason. That's why. It's just because the level I'm risking in theory is much further, but you know, at the same time, if it downtrends again to, you know, at this point at 35, I don't know. It's gonna depend on the level too, but maybe by then it might look very bearish. It is 11:13. It did make a move towards VWAP, which is the goal. I'm still interested in a potential 11 a.m. reversal, but this might have been it, and it just might have happened a bit early. And I don't like how it's trading with the spread. It actually, because of how much of a spread it trades, and it's actually increasing the chance that this thing might break the day low again, which would be kind of depressing for a stock like this to do that at this point of the day. So I'll keep that in the watch. I'll just keep watching this, but you know, if it makes a move towards the upside and I miss it, I won't mind that, because then at that point the way it did it was likely with really bad price action. You can see there's a spread right now of 1 cent. It's just not looking that cool, but if it starts to look a little more proper, I might be interested. Alright, it is 11:49. This is probably the last trade for today. I'm in right here at 343, 1144, which is right here. And in theory, I'm going to cut the trade if it breaks the day low at 33.5. Ideally, the volume keeps fading, and the big sellers at the ask can actually disappear. There wasn't a big seller when I was in, and it can try to make a move towards the upside. If it breaks the day low again, I'll be out. That's what I have in mind, just a small position, because I have, you know, just less, I don't know, less confidence in this stock for that reason. But it could try to do something. It would be pretty depressing if it breaks the day low. Again, it did briefly break it here, and then it did a little turnaround. So it could be something that could take a long time, and that would actually be good for me to try. You know, setups that take longer to play out, and again, just a clear risk level. If it breaks the day low, I'll be out. Okay, it is 12:06. I got out of the position at 12:02. I just got tired of it, and there were just too many people at the freaking ask, too many bag holders, too many people who put way too much faith on some promoter on the internet that they don't even know. And unfortunately, that means this setup isn't going to work out. This one's just really depressing, but it might try to do it later. I just didn't want to just sit around and with my position for a super long time. And what I did was at, you know, I was in at 11:44 at 12 o'clock. I sold 200 shares, and there was some manipulation in the level too. So, you know, it kind of shows that, I don't know, they're just really preying on people to get in trouble. But I got out at 34.1 right here at 12 o'clock, and then I sold the last at 34.02, just a little difference. And yeah, that was it. This can reverse. Ideally it reverses, but too many sellers at the ask, too many bag holders. I don't think they're short sellers. They might be, but I'm pretty sure they're just bag holders. Okay, it is 8:28 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I ended up down $5.87, and given the fact that I had 3 trades, one was with a $15 risk level, and then 2 with a $5 risk level. Worst case scenario, I mean, today could have been a negative $25 day, and I only lost $5.87, and I feel like I just got really unlucky. I was on the right track with OWUV, and I just wasn't, you know, there when it actually did a turnaround. And you know, as happy as I am that I was on the right track, being on the right track doesn't buy you anything nice. So I think it was just a bad run of luck, honestly. I mean, it did do the 11 a.m. reversal, but it was around 10. It was just a bit earlier than most of the time. It did a move, and then I wanted to do it again, and this didn't pan out. As you can see, it broke the level, although it did make a nice uptrend, and it even did get to VWAP later on, but I don't necessarily have an interest in it when it's later, past midday, because it could do something like it did here and just fade, although it did do a nice reversal. It just wasn't really clean. This one was kind of sad the way it traded, and it just kept downtrending and looking ugly, but it did offer some opportunities. And just to go over it, I had that one trade at 10.11, which was this move right here. As you can see, it just didn't pan out. It just kept downtrending, and that's totally fine. And then I did try again. That was later in the day, around 11:44, right here, and I held it for a while, and this one failed too. It was too early here in theory. It did make it later, and this one did make it later, so that's pretty unlucky. And if I'm gonna have an unlucky day and only be down $5.87, that's totally fine. All I need to have is just one of these trades really pan out, and then that's it. I just make it back instantly. 3 trades just made back with 1 green trade, which is cool. That's ideal. That's the way I should trade it. And then NTRB, I was on the right track with this one too, but I was not able to really benefit from it because again, it was a really bad entry, and that was totally my fault into this candle, I believe, right here, or maybe this one, honestly. Let's see exactly when it was at 9:48. Yeah, this little wiki guy, this one got me bad. If I were to have been just a little later and gotten in the 880s, I probably would have again gotten out of here, maybe slightly profitable or break even, or just a small loss, but that's totally fine. I was on the right track. I did make a move towards the upside, but because I was in at such a bad price, it didn't really help me hold on to the position. After all, I did have my risk breaking 840, which was a day low, and it never really did that, so that would have allowed me to have participated in this. And then the inverse head and shoulders was around right here when I was looking at OWUV. This was a pretty nice move towards the upside, a little too much, and very crazy big red candle there. And yeah, that's really about it. HMBL did offer some nice moves. I was watching this. I did miss this one. Not necessarily, again, a morning panic bounce play, a dip buy setup, so I don't mind the fact that I missed it, but that is something I want to be a part of. It's something I've seen happen multiple times, especially when you look at the daily chart and take into consideration that it can do a nice reversal like it did right here, and then it even retested VWAP. I like how it went towards VWAP, bounced, and then again, and then it uptrended, and it made a move from 33 to 36. Just really unlucky, just super duper unlucky, but that's totally fine. It could have been much worse, and maybe that unluckiness can be paid off, and now I can have some nice trades that work out when I'm actually in it, not just on the right track, but I trade it as well and be profitable. So that's really all I have. There wasn't really anything in the OTC market I was truly interested in. Just some nice moves there with NTRB, OWUV a bit ugly, and HMBL some nice moves too. That's all I have, and yeah, hopefully tomorrow I can be not so unlucky. Maybe I get even unluckier, but if I can be unlucky and do that with small losses, in theory, there's nothing wrong with that. It's hard to be 100% right, and I think I just have to keep going forward.